In this lecture, we will talk a little bit more about selecting identifiers or choosing valid names for them. If you remember, an identifier is a chosen name that will be given to a certain reference, such as a variable or a method. While in C# there is something called reserved keywords, which are predefined and they have special meanings for the compiler. By definition, a developer cannot name a method or variable with reserved keywords, and there are some requirements when naming identifiers. Number 1, they must begin with an underscore, an @ symbol, or a letter. But beyond that, an identifier can have letters, digits, underscores, and the @ sign, but it cannot include any other forms of special characters, such as a hashtag, %, or $sign. Here are some examples of good and bad names for identifiers. Notice in the good examples, we have all our identifiers starting with letters. They can be capital or they can be lowercase, it just depends on the type of formatting. Here we have two variables and a name of a method at the bottom. A bad example would be the ones that would not work, such as the first example, 2011 budget. It starts with a number, and as we previously stated, it can only start with an underscore, letter, or an @ sign. The bottom example, although starts with a letter, it includes a hashtag, which is not one of the characters that can be used in an identifier name. Here's a list of reserved keywords, and before I finish, let me be very clear again by what I mean by reserved keywords. As we look at this list, notice, for example, the keyword string. String is the keyword used to tell a program that a certain variable will be given a string attribute. And as a developer, you can use any of these keywords in your program just as long as you use them correctly, such as creating a string variable. And I'll show you what I mean in Visual Studio. Okay, so if we're still working with the keyword string, let's say I created a string and I named it greeting, and then I set that string variable message to hello message. There's nothing wrong with that. There is no syntax error. But what if I wanted to name the variable string even though it is a reserved keyword? Let's change that. Notice that there is a red syntax error, and that is there is a pop-up that says identifier expected. So it is telling me that I have broken a rule and I cannot use the name of a reserved keyword as the name of my variable. I suggest attempting to memorize this list or keeping it handy when using throughout your C# application in case you get confused on exactly why you have an error pop up.